I actually wanted to come to you to talk about a particular subject matter that is actually all the buzz now on social media. Regarding Jesse Williams and his inspirational speech that was given to the audiences and the masses and the world, for, him, just for his opinion on how blacks are being viewed in mainstream media and how still we are actually suffering from white privilege and all this other type of stuff. For the most part, a lot of the stuff that this fellow was talking about, I just want to kind of chime in just a little bit to kind of give my take on it. And the fact about it is that when I was listening to a little bits of excerpts of what he was actually saying, I didn't actually listen to the whole speech because again, I don't really like to watch anything associated with BET these days because BET does not really hold true to black culture, in my opinion, anymore. I don't know. I don't know if it's because it changed hands as far as ownership or what, but for some reason I just don't really look at it because it really doesn't mean much to me as it did in years past. But anyway, a lot of people was talking about this particular speech that Jesse Williams gave and how it was such an inspiration and how that it was something that really needed to be said, and deserved to be heard and all this other type of stuff. And for the most part, you have a bunch of people that are listening to what this individual is saying, but everybody is taking away different things from what he is saying, and that's the unique part of actually our culture, the human race or what have you, is that no two people will actually get the same thing from what something is, from what somebody said. Even if you read something in the book, two people or, no two people may end up with the same thinking or the same meaning of what's being read or whatever the case may be. But I actually wanted to kind of, zero in on, for the most part, the reaction of the public. Not so much of what this gentleman said, but pretty much how, the people, the community, how, the audience, how society is actually reacting to this particular speech that he gave. Like I say, the issue is that within the black culture, we are still suffering from the disease of what I would like to call colorism. A lot of people don't like to talk about that. A lot of people like to look at, and talk about things that are on the surface, such as, racism and white privilege and all of that. And I mean, he addressed all of that, in this speech or whatever the case may be, if you really listen to what he was saying. But like I say, to me, that's just too easy. I don't like to actually attack what's already on the surface or, because again, if you have, ears that can hear, and you are halfway decent and intelligent in or interpreting what someone says, you can actually sit there and say, okay, yeah, he talked about a lot of things, that, black folks still struggle with, in this day and time. But what really is actually getting me to actually wanting to do a video about this is, again, of how the culture, how his speech is actually beginning to become viral, if you will, making it all the way on talk shows and other media outlets and everything like that, where people are actually wanting to chime in and really explain the significance of what he is saying. But only a few people really got the message of really what's going on. And I mean, you have YouTube videos of folks that are actually explaining for the most part, or in some sort of way, what I pretty much took away from it, which is again the colorism aspect. Now, we can say within the black culture is that, there is a divide as far as how treatment is, how someone is treated based on their shade of black. And the thing about it again is that you can deny it, you can say, oh, that's not so, but I'm not crazy. I am a human being and I am not a dummy. Like I say, I sit back and I observe a lot. A lot of people think that racism is just a clear-cut issue with where black folks are dealing with the mistreatment that they're being given from white folks. But when you actually sit down and really think about it too, it's not always that clear cut. You also have racism within the black culture. You have light-skinned blacks that are actually being treated better than darker skinned blacks. I'm not talking about, again, the issue of what we would know of as racism, where it's a black and white issue. I mean, but this speech and the reaction of the media is really what is concerning to me. And the fact about it is that colorism has a lot to do with the fact that this individual's speech is actually making the rounds around on social media. You know, everybody, again, it's the buzz of everything that you're talking about. Everybody is, I mean, is so impressed and everything. And again, the black women, you know, of America, for the most part, are just raving and are just in awe at what this individual had to say, as if someone else is, as if that was something that was never said before. But I actually had to ask myself a question, and I'm pretty sure a lot of folks who actually have any type of reasonable intelligence, you know, would think, okay, well, if this was a black person ask or saying the same thing, would America react the way that it's reacting? And the question and the answer to that, again, you know, is easy to, you can come up with an answer with that so easily. And the answer is no. You know, the thing about it again is that, and I hate that, you know, the human psychology, the human mind actually thinks this way, but they figure that anything that is actually good or should be heard should come from someone that is more attractive, that, you know, someone who is, you know, that looks more white or close to the white culture as what, I mean, and anybody who is actually darker or looks like the typical Negro, if you will, their word shouldn't mean anything because, again, you know, they're already looked down upon as far as society goes. And the issue is that, again, we need to really break out of that mind frame, that we need to really break out of that way of thinking, because discrimination it really shouldn't be based on skin color, because again, you know, even though it is, I mean, like I say, you have sexual orientations and all this other type of stuff, but I don't want to get too far off topic. Everyone's word should actually mean something, because again, you know, if something is bothering you and you want to actually make, you know, you want to talk about it, you know, your words, you're an individual, you're a unique human being. Your word should mean something, and it should be just as powerful as someone who happens to look like they're white, you know, or a white person. You know, America is all, you know, wanting to grab a hold. Some people are criticizing what he says, but for the majority of the folks, and I could be wrong, but this is just me and my interpretation, the majority of people are liking what he's saying, and they're actually wanting to, you know, to grab a hold to it because of the fact that he happens to be a light-skinned black person. Even though his mother, I think they said, is white and his dad is black. You know, that is what is making this speech so unique, is because he is a biracial person. And I don't like the way we think when we talk about things like this, because we automatically assume that, again, we already know that we black folks, our way of thinking is all messed up already, you know, but we figure, and again, you know, we think like white folks, you know, that lighter is better. You know, and the thing about it again is that we're not doing anything but causing a divide within our race already, that is already being discriminated against already in so many different ways. It's like we're having a battle within a battle. You know what I mean? So, you know, it doesn't really make much sense to really, and I'm not discrediting anything that this individual said. I mean, you know, he's very eloquent, you know, in his speech, and pretty much, you know, he feels strongly about what he's saying, as he should. But the issue is that we got to really look at this. You know, if this was a dark-skinned person saying this, would there be a big hoopla, or would there be like all of this, you know, praise and everything? Because we already know white folks really didn't like that. We already know that white folks did not like this message already, and there has been strides from Viacom to remove his speech from various outlets, you know, for the most part. So, like I say, I'm past that, because anytime, you know, you're telling the truth and putting it in someone's face, again, you know, they may not look at it as the truth, but they're actually going to, you know, do what they can to stop the message, because they already know that there is some truth to what the individual is saying. I'm talking about for the white folks that happen to be in positions of authority, that actually nominates people and all this other type of stuff, you know, for different awards and stuff like that. They don't want this message to get out. That's why they're actually doing everything they can to stop this message from going viral. Too late though, because some folks they saved it and now they're giving their commentary on it. But anyway, but the issue is, aside from how white folks feel, you know, black folks, again, you know, some of us like the message and some of us don't. And the main reason why a lot of us like the message is because, again, it's because of his skin color, because he's a light-skinned dude, as they say, light-skinned dude. And, you know, and a lot of us hate the message because, again, we look at this as, you know, some sort of fashion statement, if you will, some sort of way of you getting noticed, if you will. I mean, like I say, and the thing about it, again, is that, you know, you have people that are arguing both sides of it. I mean, like I say, it's not anything new. And the funny thing about it, again, is that this here is just going to be something that is going to be a topic of a lot of different videos, at least I would say for the next week or two. I mean, like I say, I wasn't going to do a video about it, but I felt so strongly about it, you know, so I said, you know what, I'm going to take time out of my busy schedule, because I know it's been a couple of weeks since I last posted a video, but, you know, that's life. But, you know, it's just the fact that I felt strong enough to want to say something about it, because, again, it's that elephant in the room that nobody wants to address, and I think that's what needs to be addressed. Again, you know, I'm not looking for any pats on the back or anything, but I say what I feel. And like I say, anybody that views my videos know that that is for a fact. I'm not going to sit there and hold my tongue on something that I feel that needs to be said. Colorism is one of those situations in our culture that is actually really, it's like we're killing ourselves. White folks don't have to really do much to us these days for us to destroy ourselves. We are doing a good job of that ourselves through our ignorance, through our, you know, the way how we teach and rear our young offspring, pretty much how we view ourselves and our society. We are our own worst enemy. And the thing about it is that the reason why we're our own worst enemy is because of our way of thinking. And when our way of thinking, it translates into actions. And basically, like I say, we are actually being conditioned to think, again, just like the typical white person, for some of those people, for some of those that choose to think that way, that lighter is better. It doesn't matter what the person says, it doesn't matter what the person does or whatever. The fact about it is that since because he's a lighter shade of black, that means that his words have to mean something. But yet still you have people that have been saying the exact same thing all these years who happens to be of dark skin, but yet still they don't get any recognition, they don't get any shine. Their words are just yeah, blah, 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 yeah, whatever, whatever. But again, this dude comes out of nowhere, gets nominated or whatever the case may be, and he speaks his piece about white privilege and all this other type of stuff, and next thing you know, oh, that is so true, man, he really is doing a great job speaking out for our cause. I'm like, man, shut up, just be quiet. Because again, he's not the first person to say those things. He won't be the last person to say these things. Again, black folks, again, we are not new to being used. Just because again, a white fella gives you, or a white society gives you an Oscar nominee or a little plaque or whatever, that does not mean that they like you any more than they once did our kind back in the slavery days. The concept is real, white privilege is real, but yet still, just because they want to put a little spin on it to kind of to pretend to like you, don't be fooled. I'm not a hateful person, but I am not a fool either. So again, you know, I just encourage folks to really see this situation for what it is. And the fact about it is that we have to really look deeper to what people are saying and the reason why they're saying it. Yes, he probably believed 100% of what he's saying. I would assume so. Otherwise, he wouldn't have said it. But the issue is, look at how the media is reacting to this. If he was a dark-skinned person, would this be such a big deal? I mean, like I say, and that's the question that we really need to focus on, I believe. And really, it would be interesting to see the type of answers that people will come up with. I mean, so that's pretty much all that I have for now. Peace out, folks. Talk to you later.